Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompiani. A wild and woolly game in the NFL. We'll get into some of the decisions made around the league and how they impact the playoff race. We'll also talk about John Harbaugh, two-point conversions, and the decision to do it again and it cost him another game. But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Steelers, who got a win today, even though all the numbers suggest they should have lost this game. Goes to show you how important it is to take the ball away, which they did 4 different times, or at least sometimes I wondered if Tennessee just gave them opportunities that were pretty much just self-inflicted. Well, whatever the case, the Steelers took advantage of it to the point of 9 points off field goals. We're going to talk about that and all things Steelers with the panel you see right here. Mark Kaboly from The Athletic, who covers the Steelers so well, still nursing that Achilles. Wish you well, Mark. I know that's got to be tough. Below him, it's Andrew Fillipponi, star of the PM team. And to his right, your left, depending on how you look at this, it's Jeff Hathhorn, who wears all the hats at the 93.7 The Fan. He is the sports director up there. So, Jeff, I want to start with you on this one. First topic of the night. What do we make of this? They got dominated in so many categories, especially in the run game. Again, this is not something new. This is happening over and over. 201 yards rushing without Derrick Henry, yet they can only manage 35. So what are these Pittsburgh Steelers right now at 7-6-1?
Well, it turns out that winning the turnover battle is not just a cliche. It's actually a huge deal. I will say this for this team. You know, they were getting run on, but they weren't breaking. They only allowed the 1 touchdown. There was a short other drive that kept to a field goal and a 19-play drive that they held out of the end zone. So unlike the other games where they struggled in the first half, especially offensively, they stayed in this game, so they had a chance in the second half, at least a realistic chance. So I don't see the Steelers as that much different, except they made a play or two to allow themselves to win a game.
Mark?
Well, I don't know about that. You know, there's a reason why that they didn't make that big play, the Titans, because there's a guy called Deonta Foreman and Ike Hilliard, Dalton Hilliard, whoever it is. They're just not good running backs. If you were faced with Dalvin Cook, then what would have it been? This team is very similar. It was maybe worse than last week because they got these numbers put up against them against, you know, not good running backs. We're talking about another 200 yards. That's 2 in a row, and that would have been 4 out of the last 6 games. I think Cincinnati finished with 198. Unless you fix that, this team is not going to win anything. They can actually win the division here because how this division is sorting out and still be considered a bad team. And I don't think they're not a bad team. They're an average team, and it's all surrounds just run defense. They tried everything out here to try to stop these guys, and they couldn't. 10 in the box, a run blitzing, everything. They just don't have the horses to do it. And as long as you don't have the horses to do it, maybe you slide into the playoffs. But, I mean, that's the best-case scenario. It's not much different than I saw from last week other than worse running backs.
Yeah, well, the run defense definitely is an Achilles heel, Mark. But, you know, I know it had to happen. We're a minute in.
Very good,
I
Pony.
had to go that way. Thank you. You know, a mark of a team that isn't bad, that when a team gives you a game, when they put it on a silver platter for you, you take it. And they had 4 takeaways. They converted points. Now, they were field goals, but it was conservative game planning because they trusted their all-pro kicker to make long kicks, and he did. So against better teams, you got to get more aggressive in those situations. Against Kansas City, you can't look at a 3-and-out and a field goal as a good play. But I will give them credit in the second half for this. Their strategy was all about winning this game in front of them. And Ryan Tannehill, without Derrick Henry, without the best running back in the NFL, with Julio Jones hurt and A.J. Brown out of the game, the Steelers did what they needed to do, Bob, to keep themselves alive in the AFC North playoff.
Yeah,
race.
they showed a lot of resilience, a lot of heart, and that's what you need if you don't have anything else really clicking for you. And they did not fold in this game. They came out and they outscored them 16-zip in the second half. Jeff, back to you. Play calling especially after turnovers. You know, they get the ball in an ideal situation. It's almost as if they say, well, you know what, we're not going to mess with too many things because we have Chris Boswell. Therefore, we'll just do very uneventful, unoriginal, kind of same old offensive game plan or game calling. To me, there's a lot not to like about the offensive game calling.
Wouldn't call it aggressive. Wouldn't call it going for it. But I think they found themselves like, hey, we've got turnovers. Let's not turn it back over. It's almost like they're playing not to lose. And it ended up working for them in this game. I would love to see more. All that being said, it's not like he's got a lot of things. He being Matt Canada has a lot to work with. They tried some things. They weren't very effective in that first half. They weren't very effective all game. It's just the defense set them up with short fields, and they didn't turn it over and allowed their kicker to win the game. I mean, it was the offense struggled. Again, they didn't even have a huge spurt. They just had one drive, and they were helped a couple of times by penalties.
I think Matt Canada is in a rut right now. I don't think he knows what to do. He's thrown everything against the wall. He even brought out the old Matt Canada offense again in that first half, and that really didn't work. Then he went to something else. I mean, I don't think he has an identity of what he wants to do here. I mean, it looked like a couple months ago they did when they ran the ball. Even if they weren't getting the yards, they were running it, and they were able to win those 4 games. Then recently they would be able to turn the game over to Roethlisberger and let him win it, or at least come close. In the end here, it seems like everything that worked, he went the other direction, and it didn't seem like there was much opportunity for Roethlisberger to come out and try to wing it around. Maybe it was because they want to have the conservative game plan, but I just think Matt Canada just holds his hands up and says, I don't know what to do right now. And he's going away from some of the things that works. So I just think a lot of the issue is him. They got decent players. They should be able to make some plays, but I just don't think he's in that right mindset of knowing what to do and when to do it.
Well, this is why he's such a well-traveled offensive coordinator at the college level, because outside of Pitt, he didn't have a great amount of success. He was promoted, I think, without doing a real search to bring in the best qualified candidate. It looked like it was a handshake deal between Tomlin and Canada. Hey, put up with Ben for a year, and then we'll give you a more mobile quarterback, someone that can really run your offense. But I don't think Matt Canada has frankly earned that right, Bob. The strategy today from the very beginning should have been, Ben, with the way you've played in the fourth quarter of the last month, we're going to let you do what you want to do at the start of the game. And if we win the game that way, fine. If we don't, well, then what's the worst case scenario? We're in the situation where we found ourselves in the last couple of games against Minnesota, Cincinnati, trying to come back late. I put credence in now some of the things that Charlie Batch has said and others, where there's this tug of war going on behind the scenes between Canada and Ben. And for whatever reason, right now, in the twilight of the guy's career, Canada doesn't want to hand the reins or the keys over to Roethlisberger. And I think today it was a mistake that their defense allowed them to get away with.
We have many more options to get into here as we move along. We're going to talk about play calling again. We're also going to talk about time management, clock management specifically, and why the Ray Guy punter can't punt anymore. We'll get into all those things and more as we continue. Plus the Ravens, they lost again. We'll talk about that next on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran, Go One Better, and by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.